Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. John Kelly, Profiler here, and welcome. Welcome to a great show we're going to have today, and it's called Zodiac Unmasked. You know, the oldest cipher was just decoded on Zodiac, and I'm really interested in it. I've been analyzing the heck out of it. It's something that's really interesting to me. Also, I want to bring out that everybody's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. And I want to mention that our webinar series is up in the description if you want a link to our webinar and what it's going to be. We still don't have a date, but we're getting close, hopefully sooner than later. It's going to be a great webinar. It's going to be focused on Ted Bundy and Green River. And, when you look at Ted Bundy, you look at Gary Ridgway from Green River, these guys were pretty much in the same area, so we're going to be comparing and contrasting them like you've never seen before. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. You're really going to like it. Also, we have a free site out there on YouTube, free channel called Thrive, John Kelly's Thrive. For any of you that are suffering from addictive illness or your families are being torn apart by addictive illness, please feel free to go there. There's a lot of good educational vids on there, and they may help you out. They may help you out through these really turbulent times, because it's got to be like hell on earth to be dealing with all this COVID and have addictive illness going on in your house at the same time. It's pretty crazy. Today we're going to show you the two ciphers. We're going to show you the cipher, the 408 cipher, that was linked previously to Zodiac. And we're also going to be showing you, or we're going to have a link up there to our previous video on Zodiac, where you can go and take a look at a video we did on him a year ago. So we're going to have a couple of ciphers to go over today. And, the 408 that was cracked was found on ZodiacCiphers.com. We want to credit Richard Grinnell. Thank you, Richard, for putting that cipher up there. The two people that decoded the 408 back in the day deserve a lot of credit too, and that credit goes to Donald Jean and Betty June Harden for cracking the 408 cipher. The 408 cipher consisted of, I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all. Okay, so knowing that, this came from Mr. Zodiac, we have to really focus on the wording here, okay? And one of the words that is very important to me is forest, okay? Forest. People that go hunting or, hunting for animals, hunting for bear, hunting for deer, they say that. I'm going hunting for deer, hunting for animals, whatever. I mean, they don't say, talking about I'm going out killing wild game in the forest. I'm going out to the woods. Or they say, I'm going over here to Ithaca, or I'm going over here to Utica, and I'm going to be in the woods hunting deer, hunting bear, whatever they're going to be doing. This guy is very verbal, and I think he's using terms and words that are above the norm. I think instead of talking about woods, he's saying the forest. I think instead of talking about, killing wild game, he could be talking about he's going hunting, okay? It's just unbelievable where this guy's coming from. I believe this guy's upper middle class, has a very good vocabulary, and I think he's saying it the way he believes it should be said. So kind of prim and proper. Obviously, he's well read too. He's read a lot of books, and it came from the book The Most Dangerous Game by Richard Connell. Man is the most dangerous animal of all. So we know the guy's into reading, right? So I think we're looking maybe upper middle class, into reading, and as crazy as can be. I like killing people because it's so much fun. I mean, a real psycho, okay? So, to kill something, continuing with the cipher, to kill something gives me the most thrilling experience. The most thrilling experience. I mean, this sounds too upper crust for me for a serial killer. Now, you got to understand, I've analyzed a lot of serial killers over the last 20-some years, and I have never heard one of them say to me, to kill something gives me the most thrilling experience. They may say, oh, I get a rush. It's sexually exciting. I get high off that. It's the greatest high I've ever had. That's why I believe this guy is like a little more up the ladder, especially with his vocabulary. He's playing around with us with some of his writing, but I think we're looking at upper middle class guy that likes to brag a lot too. I think he's a major bragger. Then we get into the best part of it is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and all the lone or stray people, I think it was added in by somebody, I have killed will become my slaves. See, this guy's really into slaves. He's really into collecting slaves. He's been upfront about that pretty much right off the bat, okay? So I got to ask myself, where did he get this? So I went back and I started, doing research on these various religions. Where did he get this, that he can kill these slaves and be reborn in paradise? And here, in this first cipher, he spells paradise correctly, Paradise, okay? So I go back and I look at Christianity, I look at Islam, I look at the Egyptians at the time. And the one thing that jumped out at me was the Vikings, and I know this guy has been said to might be connected to the Nordic people or something. But I think there might be something about Viking ancestry in here, because Vikings could kill slaves and take them to Valhalla for the afterlife. Okay, that was part of some of the stuff that was being talked about with the Vikings. Some of the their beliefs that they could take slaves with them to the afterlife. So I think this guy could be hung up on Vikings and have an obsession for Vikings back in the day, and I think that might cause him to get caught. Okay, as a matter of fact, he even brings out, and this is important, somebody else brought this out too, but he saw something about the Symbionese Liberation Army back in the day, and he saw SLA, Symbionese Liberation Army, SLA, but he saw SLA, and he said, oh, SLA is a Nordic word, for killing, and somebody corrected it and said, no, that's wrong, it's not, SLA is not, does not mean killing. But what SLA means is striking. And how did he even know about SLA? See, who would look at Symbionese Liberation Army and all of a sudden think of SLA and striking or killing someone, okay? Because that's Nordic for striking someone, can be, okay? I mean, I think there's another term it can be used for too. But how does it register like that with him unless he has a background in, Viking ancestry and Viking history? Okay, something for us to keep in mind, because these guys are so obsessive compulsive in their nature that he could be known back in the day for talking about Vikings, reading books on Vikings, painting Vikings, dressing like a Viking. In fact, at Lake Berryessa, he may have looked a little like a Viking coming down with that hood and everything, the Zodiac design he had on it and all. So very, very, very important, okay, if we can jog anybody's memory to remember somebody that was pretty strange and was obsessed with Vikings and probably had some kind of history of violence, may have killed animals growing up or may have been involved with arson or something like that. But anyway, when we talk about the 340 cipher, okay, I think we really have to give a lot of credit to David Uranchek, Sam Blake, and Gerald Van Eyck, or Isaac, for cracking the 340. Sorry if I didn't pronounce that last name correctly. And the FBI came out and said, yep, they did it. These three guys cracked the cipher 51 years later. Wow, way to go, guys, okay? Also, going back to him, in the first cipher, I will not give you my name because you will try to slow me down or stop me collecting my slaves for the afterlife. Again, obsessed with collecting slaves for the afterlife, okay? So now we got the new cipher. I hope you're having lots of fun trying to catch me. That wasn't me onto the TV show that brings up a point about me, which brings up a point about me. You see, he was on that TV show years and years ago where somebody pretended they were him, and, I think eventually they were arrested. A mentally ill person who played that they were him, and, they were talking to a very famous attorney from San Francisco on that show. Okay? So he starts off again. I hope you are having lots of fun trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show, which brings up a point about me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise. Now he spells paradise wrong, okay, in this cipher. Paradice. It will bring me to paradise all the sooner because I now have enough slaves to work for me. Again, here we go obsessing with the slaves, paradise, the afterlife. And also, he must be pretty lazy because he don't want to do any work. He has all these slaves to work for him, right? Where everyone else, now here comes his narcissism and his egomania and everything, where everyone else has nothing when they reach paradise, Paradice, again spelled wrong, so they are afraid of death. I am not afraid of death, because I know that my new life will be an easy one in paradise death. Paradise spelled Paradice. Wrong again. 3 times it's wrong. He spells it wrong in this cipher, but in the other cipher, he spelled it correctly. So, what is this about? Is this because he's just making the same mistake 3 times in a row? This guy doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes, right? Or is this some kind of BS and he's playing with us, he's taunting us like he did with the cops? And back in the day, figured, well, if anybody, I said I'd put my name in this. If anybody is lucky enough to decipher this, I'll play with them and I'll spell paradise wrong, and maybe they'll think it's, has some way of referring to my name. And maybe it does. Maybe there's some way you can refer to what his real name is through this misspelling of this word. Don't take that as gospel, because you know how when a serial killer is lying is when their lips are moving, right? So we got to look at this guy as a pathological liar as well. Last but not least, when I started to analyze this and came to a conclusion, I had to believe that there was a major interest in Viking ancestry, and like I said, I think he's probably obsessed with it. I think he's godlike. He thinks he's godlike or king-like. In fact, probably does. He's extremely narcissistic. He's a psychopath, and obviously lives in the fantasy world. Okay, he's delusional. But that's what all these guys are, all these serial killers, and you all know this out there, that they all live in this fantasy world. The fantasy starts when they're younger and just gets bigger and bigger and constantly grows. And that's what goes on with serial killers all the time. The fantasy's always there. Primary intake since visual. He's extremely visual, hands-on kind of guy. Probably into reading, habitual reader, painting, writing. Definitely look at the ciphers. That is absolutely positively an extremely visual person, like somebody that might go on to become an accountant or something like that. really would have grasped, jumped at the computer age. I mean, this guy, if he's alive, he's all over computers. I'll tell you that right now. He's really into it. Okay, this is the type of guy that is extremely structured, extremely visual. You got to be structured to put those ciphers together, and extremely sadistic. He wants to keep people in fear. He loves to see people in fear. And I believe he's personalizing with that. I believe because he grew up in so much fear, he just wants to project that onto others. Okay? So somebody with all these different things going on that likes to project fear on others, probably onto animals when he was younger. And I wouldn't even be surprised if he has some kind of killer artwork out there or whatever that he likes to brag about and talk about. And it wouldn't surprise me if he's really big into photography and artwork. With all that being said, we're going to get back to you with part 2, People of Interest. That'll be part 2 of Zodiac Unmasked. Please continue to send your comments. Please continue to subscribe. We can't thank you enough, for all the support you've given us. Most importantly, have great holidays out there. Stay safe, be careful, and God bless.